Welcome to the Medina Mania podcast. This is a very special episode. As you can see, we're already talking over each other. We're singing over each other, rather.
Just like the Lord sings over us.
Who's this guy? I don't know this guy.
We have Paul, we have Randall, we have Ace, we have Julius, and we have me, Nick. How you guys doing?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Very good. Very well.
I like your online personality.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
It was very hypocritical.
Let me tell you something.
Feeling great.
Let me tell you something. You guys just never mind. Come
on, you got to say it now.
Let's call it out, man. Call it out.
I feel like I'm being heard for the first time in our friend group because you guys don't just talk and talk and I listen and
wait, hold on.
That's what I'm gonna do today.
You said you feel like you're being heard for the first time in what?
It was an exaggeration in our friend group.
In our friend. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's an indictment on our friend.
We're taking selfies. It's gonna be a fun time.
Okay.
So without any further ado, sorry, Julius. We're going to get into it because we're going to try to keep this under an hour. So, Julius, get us our first topic. Julius is going to be the co-host. He's going to kind of keep us on track, and I'm going to try to help.
Julius? Keep us on track? He's going to have like 8 side conversations.
So we're stretching him today.
Talking to Ace over here.
Yeah. He already had me
stretching him.
Okay, listen. So let's jump straight in, and we're going to share a story about something that happened to me and Nick very recently that was, I don't even know how to describe it. Nick, kick it off. What happened?
Okay, so we're gonna get into we're gonna get demonetized, as people would say. We're gonna get
Just
into.
Don't use any buzzwords.
Are you on YouTube?
I don't know how not to. Okay, we're gonna get into something. Yeah, I'm on YouTube.
Oh, dude, you're gonna get taken down if you talk about this. Just FYI.
Yeah.
No. You won't.
So we walk into.
You just have to
misinformation.
I know. I gotta try to
put a different vowel in the word.
Right. I gotta try to talk around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Shmaxxine.
Okay. Exactly.
So
like that.
so me and Julius, we go on this work outing and we go to a restaurant, and we sit down in the restaurant, hostess, whatever you want to call her, asks for our identification that you. Bro, that was way too close to the actual word. That's for our identification to know that we've gotten a certain thing inside of us. It was kind of weird.
Your papers to show proof of decree.
Yes.
Your papers to show proof of decree submission.
Sure.
Right? So you know,
and we don't have
compliance.
Subjugation. Is that what you're
starting? Your compliance
what did
papers.
I say, guys?
I was trying to be like the psalmist David.
Can't even get past the first sentence of my story.
And
That's
us in a nutshell.
Can we just agree? Compliance papers. Let's call it that.
Okay, compliance papers.
Compliance papers.
Submission papers.
Don't have the compliance papers. Don't have the submission papers. We don't have them. And they tell us, okay, well, since you don't have these papers, you're going to have to actually sit outside. And Julius, I think, got late, and we told him the story. But basically that made us feel kind of segregated, the clean from the unclean, and we left a bad Yelp review and everything. Julius, if you want to share anything else from that story.
Yeah. What's crazy is like we literally left Yelp reviews sharing our experience and what happened, right? So mine happened.
Shout out to Your Truth.
Mine happened to start getting a lot of traction. And then I don't know if Baker's reported it or did I just name drop? Oops.
It's okay. You could.
Okay.
Later.
They reported it and
It's fine.
I don't know if they wanted it taken down or not, but either way, I get an email from Yelp saying, hey, we've decided to remove your review from Yelp because it doesn't reflect the general experience of this restaurant.
As if any review needs to conform to the general as if there is such a thing as a general experience. The whole point of reviews is that individuals are offering their experience.
My point exactly. Right. Anyway, it was pretty disappointing, but I am happy that we, did what we knew to do to kind of speak out against stuff like this because it's kind of like, I just feel like it's distasteful.
Yeah, I agree. So with this topic, I guess we're going to go veer off into the question of what should we do about everything that's going on with the compliance papers needed to walk into restaurants, shopping establishments, businesses.
Paulo, I would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know first. You guys aren't Shmaxxinated?
This is gonna get blocked. I don't
can
know.
beep
I don't know what to
It
tell
won't.
you.
It won't.
Just
It
beep
won't.
it.
You're not
It won't.
Shmaxxinated? How dare you? I don't want to be near you.
Proudly.
Yeah.
Proudly not.
Segregate yourself away from me. You guys are unloving and you're spreading the disease.
No, I've already had the disease and I have natural antibodies.
Which, by the way, even liberal doctors will tell you is stronger,
Disease.
stronger than the immunity offered by the Shmaxxine. No, literally.
Per Charlie Delta Charlie, now finally speaking some truths into light 2 years later.
So that's what I don't understand, because we were going out for my birthday yesterday, and I wanted to go to Griffith Observatory, but it was closed because what is it called? A compliance needed to be
It was open,
demonstrated,
but closed for us.
exactly. Yeah. But here's the thing: it's like, okay, fine, but at least follow your own science, because if you're gonna demand, if you're gonna do, okay, fine, I get it, just be consistent. You should offer at least the option of, okay, either you have your compliance papers or you show proof of antibody immunity, which is actually stronger if it's natural
Well, CDC just came out with that.
than vaccination.
Yeah, natural immunity.
Charlie,
is stronger.
Charlie Delta Charlie.
I said it. I tried not to. I didn't mean to.
Charlie Delta Charlie.
Make me
Remember.
have a lot of work.
Well, okay.
Paul. Trigger words.
Yeah. I want to ask, did you feel segregated?
Yes.
100%. Like,
Okay.
straight up. I was completely offended. The only reason why I didn't show out like I wanted to was because we were celebrating our coworker's birthday.
Right.
And so it's kind of like,
We would have left.
I'm looking at her like, so we gonna stay here? We gonna still give them our money?
Right.
We gonna still spend probably $250?
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's how much we spent the other night.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's pretty clear.
Popping them
that-
bottles.
Hey.
Right. I mean, it's pretty clear that this whole thing is. I don't think it's based on science. No. Yeah. Am I a mouth breather?
No, you gotta get closer to the mic, bud.
Yeah.
Closer.
I mean, we can get into the science if you guys want to, but I think it's segregation. I think it's wrong what happened to you guys, and I expect every Christ follower to support you guys in your indignation, righteous indignation.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know if I could be any clearer than that, but
Yeah.
challenge me, Randall. I feel your stare.
I agree.
I agree.
Ace, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I just think it's important for people to start speaking on their experiences just as you guys did, because the more that we do, as we mentioned yesterday, that a lot of people don't see what's really going on because the algorithms are only affixed to their bubble.
Right.
So the more that we start speaking, it's like they'll slowly start waking up out of their slumber and start to listen to, some truth, some light's going to penetrate the darkness, So I think it's super important. I'm super proud that you guys did that. Shout out to you two, and no shout out to baristas, because they are. That's horrible, man. It's horrible. It's like you're literally seeing history repeat itself.
Mm.
As I made a video like a year and a half ago, or actually 2 years ago, before I got married, talking about, the past, the Nazi regime, comparing them to, Democratic Party. And then now you see that, well, and alive today, the soft authoritarianism coming to our country. And it's like a lot of people are just, they're okay with it. You know
what's funny to me about all of this is now it's like comply, don't ask questions, just listen and do. When just in this last political cycle, it's my choice, I have freedoms, it's my choice of what I want to do, right? And then now that nobody's even saying that, it seems like there's one small group of people that are still saying I should be able to choose what I want to do.
Okay.
With whatever situation.
I'm going to get controversial a little bit. It's happening early.
provocative. It gets the people going.
Yes. Views. Okay, so prior to the 2020 election, there was a lot on oppression, right? Systemic oppression. Some might even say systematic oppression. All these things that's happening in our country that's oppressing minorities and all that stuff, right? And all the pastors were posting black squares. A lot of Christians were. There were sermons on it. There were panels on it. But now what we have happening here is real systemic and systematic.
Yes, and complete silence too.
Right, and complete silence. So I want to ask, what do you guys think that is?
Wait, hold on. Clarify. Complete systematic what?
Oh, systematic segregation, I guess.
Yeah.
Discrimination. President Biden just passed a mandate that basically, well, the Supreme Court shot it down. But if you're not vaccinated, you have to get tested, right? Things like that. I mean, come on, you guys know the news. All these things. You guys are getting kicked out of restaurants.
Yeah.
In LA, it happens on a daily. They're asking downtown LA, if you don't have papers, you can't come in.
Yeah.
That's pretty systematic for me because there are actually rules behind it and mandates.
Yeah.
Local mandates, federal mandates, whatever have you. So how do you guys feel about that?
What do we say to someone who says, yeah, of course it's systematic. All laws are systematic. The whole point of any law is to systematically prevent some sort of harm, and this is one of them. What do you say?
It's not.
Yeah, I think this type of systematic oppression
Being
would it be
devil's
would it be
advocate
would it
for
be
the sake of being devil's
systematic?
advocate.
Paul, would it be systematic oppression? What I'm trying to say,
Oh yeah, okay.
in a sense, right?
Right.
But I guess it hurts. It hurts those that are not in compliance, and that right there is the.
But those who aren't in compliance are hurting the ones who are.
Per the scientists, right?
Okay,
Well, not even the scientists, per the masses.
So let's,
and the I was going to say propaganda, but the media.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about that then, all right? We have two unvaccinated individuals here.
Hey.
What? I can
Whoa,
say
whoa,
that.
whoa.
Can I not say that? Is that?
I thought we were
right?
trying not to.
I think
Because
Are we?
he's got to do more
Proudly,
editing.
proudly.
He's got to do a lot more editing.
Proudly.
I think we're failing at the thing.
Okay, we have two non-compliant
There you go.
individuals here who don't have the certain medicines in their body. So are we saying that you guys are spreading the disease more, vigorously than those who have complied?
That's what society
Let's ask
says.
that first.
That's what society
Is that
says.
what they're saying?
That's what they're saying,
Yes, 100%.
right? But, well, obviously now the science is saying no. Even CDC is admitting that you guys are not spreading it as much because those who are complying can spread it just as much. So it's based on faulty logic, faulty science, all that stuff. So now the harm part, that's moot. Let's put that out to the side. Why are they still having this law?
Well, it's all a power grab. At the end of the day, that's basically what it is. The administration that's in right now, they're getting from a playbook that has been used from the 30s, and that's just kind of like the steps you take to get to the end goal. So that's what we're seeing right now.
Sure. Yes. You conspiracy
Yes.
theorist.
That's okay. So I'll say something here, just by way of affirmation. Obviously, up until like in the last few minutes, I've been kind of playing devil's advocate because I wanted to sharpen our thoughts for the audience. But if I hadn't been in Lebanon,
Is there an audience?
yeah, if I hadn't been in Lebanon
Wrong sound.
last year, for 4 months, I was in Lebanon and I saw firsthand the hard authoritarian grab that has been plaguing that country for years, for decades now.
Yeah.
And the process that brought us there. And I'm a documenter, so I was documenting what was going on. And I had some interviews. I had I sat down with some people and talked, and everybody agrees. Everybody shared the same history that led Lebanon down this track. And once I heard that history, it occurred to me, and I realized this is exactly what people are decrying in America. But it's just that it's a lot softer, like you said, and it's a lot more sophisticated, and it's a lot more hidden. Yeah. But you see the same process happening, and we talked about this, Nick and I, when we were on the podcast before. But just people who immediately say conspiracy theory, it's just a way of shutting down the conversation because they don't want to. They don't.
It's a character attack.
Exactly. They don't want.
That's all they have.
They don't even want to.
They already show their position.
They don't want to
there.
grapple with. They don't want to grapple with any data. They don't want to. They just want people to fall in line because they can't be bothered to actually investigate. And
Well, can we say that?
and well, I was going to say just
Sorry,
people who yell, people who cry out conspiracy theory, have not studied history, have not studied other countries or their history, because it is that stuff of history is the stuff of conspiracy theories.
It's like the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun, and everything repeats itself. So
What? Okay, so I for me, perhaps I'm in an echo chamber, but I look at the
Yes.
data, I look at the studies, and it's clear to me now that those who are complying can spread it. Some countries are even reporting that they're being hospitalized, that there might be some there are some adverse effects. So let's just put that on the side for a minute, because we all agree in this table. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so why are most pastors not talking about what's going on in society now? This is pretty bad stuff. Would you agree? People are getting fired. They're losing their jobs because they don't have it. People are some churches are even saying you can't come to church if you don't have it.
yeah,
I mean, this is I don't know, unless I'm completely wrong, but this is systematic oppression, right?
100%, 100%.
You agree?
And
Yeah.
I mean, me and you probably post the most provocative stuff on our stories.
I don't post anything, bro.
My bad. I'm sorry. But I've been engaging with a lot of people, and a big majority of the people that I've been engaging with have all in some way, shape, or form have gotten their livelihood threatened, and at least more than 50% have, I don't want to say caved, but, for lack of better words, they caved. They gave in. And the other 50% is about to cave in,
Yeah.
the people that I talk to. And it's just sad because you could tell that they legitimately don't want this, but there is no other form for them to feed their families, themselves, or livelihoods, whatever, pay their bills. So and because we're in such an era that doesn't read, that doesn't study, that doesn't do anything, they're stuck in a place where they're at this dead end where they feel there's legitimately no hope, and they don't realize that they can sue their employers, they can submit exemptions, medical or religious, whatever. And it's really sad because I the people that have reached out to me, they reach out to me because they know from my posts where my position is, and they're like, can you help me? And I feel bad because I could say, what I want to say is, don't be a coward, stand up, say no or quit, but it's just not that easy for them.
Well, let me go on that, the coward word there.
Yeah.
There's fear.
Not calling them that, by the way.
I know. But there is fear, because sometimes I'm even scared to admit my status, right? Because I don't want to go through the, oh my gosh, you're one of those. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
So even, I'm going to be real here. We're all close friends. So there's even some hesitancy to even say the word here, or how we're going to be viewed by society. But we firmly,
What word?
right? But we firmly believe.
Yeah.
Our convictions tell us that this is wrong. Why are we hesitant to talk about it? This is not just a debate on secondary, I like that, here we go, tertiary doctrines.
Yeah.
Right? This is not just being divisive. We're calling something that's wrong here.
Yeah.
But a lot of Christians are like, well, I don't want to talk
Like
about
real
it.
life, real evil.
Yeah,
There's no gray area. It's either good or bad.
and you guys know me. When it comes to stuff that looks like it's debatable, I'd rather not talk about it, because I don't want to, I don't want to debate. But this is clear to me that this is wrong and evil, and they're oppressing people, taking away their livelihoods. But many of us are quiet about it. I just want to know, how do we wake the church up? I would like to hear Nick, Randall, Julius, like, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Thanks for not saying my name.
Well, you know why? Because you and I are the only ones talking right now, bro.
It's okay.
We gotta share.
No, yeah. I wanna know your thoughts, Nick, on why do you think the
Why
church
people aren't talking about
the
it?
congregation isn't talking about it?
We asked two questions, right? Why aren't we talking about it? And then
Well, it's really
one whole question.
why aren't pastors talking
And then
about
what are
this?
we-
Why are we fearful to talk about it, even though in our conversations, I'm going to out all of you guys. Forgive me. Right? We believe that this is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys posted a Yelp review, which is pretty clear that you guys think it's wrong.
Yeah. So I'm not afraid to talk about it.
Good. Yeah. Then correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Yeah.
I understand the feeling of fear of there being repercussions, especially if we're talking about it in a public place like this, podcast, social media, whatever it is, of people coming at you and for your beliefs, whatever it is, people coming at you. Maybe if you work at a certain place that leans the other way, where they're going hard on mandates or they're going hard on whatever it is happening, and they see this. I've had friends where they're talking about their, I don't know what you call it, their paper status.
See, we can't even say the word.
Yeah.
Compliance papers.
That's good.
Their
We should do one of those sounds.
Yeah.
their compliance
Bruh.
paper status, and they had, I think they got transferred from their store. But they definitely got in trouble. And it's like, you have to be for a lot of people, you have to be very careful of what you say and how you say it.
See, I think that's the thing for me. It's like, I feel like up to this point, I can't say, I feel like I'm definitely in a bubble. Most of the people that I'm around think like me for the most part. And so it's like, I'm never really confronted with an actual threat to my livelihood up until this point. You know, getting asked to sit outside outdoor dining at a restaurant is like, yeah, I'm offended. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. And yeah, I'm going to speak out against it. But I mean, I haven't had to worry about my job. I haven't had to worry about, going to the grocery store to shop. And yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's this so nuanced that I feel like,
But there are real
you gotta
situations.
know when to.
There are real situations where people are. It's get vaccinated or you're fired.
Right.
And there's people that have given in to getting vaccinated. Sorry, I'm just saying whatever.
Yeah.
Getting vaccinated.
okay.
Yeah.
It's
Put it on the title.
No. We
A little box.
Well, we could keep trying. I think we could keep trying.
So I'm not gonna try. Getting this is stupid. Getting
Everybody knows what we're talking about.
getting vaccinated or getting fired. There are real situations where that's happened, where a former coworker of ours, her husband had to get vaccinated, and or he was gonna get fired. And like I had to think about it. I'm like, dang, if I was in that situation where I was married and had kids, and it was like, how am I going to provide for my family if I stand for what I believe in, but I can't put food on the table? Like, is it actually worth it? Should I just get it and be able to not worry about how I'm going to provide for my family? That's real.
That's real.
I'm glad I don't have to face that situation.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's like kind of hard to speak to, because it's like, I don't feel like I've been truly confronted with that reality of, of what's going on.
Well, you kind of have when you weren't allowed to enter that restaurant. Yeah. And I remember how pissed off you were, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That you guys posted
Yeah,
a
we
review.
both.
But I think what he's saying is like that's like a single instance compared to being threatened by your workplace, which is your livelihood, and having a family on the other side of that,
Yeah.
But
which is much a bigger kind of dilemma, ethical dilemma.
right.
Yeah, because it's like with that situation, the damage is done. I won't eat there again. I've told all of my friends and family we're not patroning that place anymore. So it's like that's a loss on them. And I think it sucks because that place is great. They have great food. Everything is good. Coffee is good. Like everything is good.
Milk and cereal cake.
But they're a small business. And because they're complying with, this whole system of things, it's affecting I think the people on the bottom of the totem pole the most, which is like small businesses, because they're gonna say, oh well, we have to follow this or they're gonna shut us down type thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, that I was going to play the other side, because I'm totally against wearing, the facial condom and, all that
You
stuff.
can say mask.
That's what it is.
I know, but he wanted to be spicy.
Yeah.
Facial diaper.
Spicy. So,
If it was a facial comment, it'd actually work.
but at certain places,
You die.
I like small restaurants. You know, I get it. I agree. It's stupid to wear it to walk in and sit down and take it off. Like, what does COVID have in mind? It's like, has a radar. Oh, he sat down. Let's go over them. You know, oh my God, they're get them. No. So, but I see their position and they can't afford to close because they need to feed their family. So in those situations, like, all right, I'll wear the mask. It's fine. You know what I mean? And I feel for them, but it's sad because going back to your question, you know, circling back to that, why aren't people talking about it? I think there's this fear of cancel culture that has been widespread throughout, you know, all of media. So everybody has this like big brother, like this eye over them, thinking like they're immediately going to get canceled as soon as they start saying something. Yep. They're really scared. They're like legitimately scared. It's like high school, and you're going to get ousted from the cool kids, you know, group, and you're going to be with like,
right,
you know, the forgotten and lost or whatever.
And that process is the same exact thing that already happened with all the LGBTQ stuff, with all the trans stuff, with all the sexual identity stuff, like people, you know, with the homosexual acceptance agenda, all of that stuff, the mechanism was exactly the same as what you just described for all of those years, that every single beachhead that the liberal progressive media and propaganda machine has foisted on the public, the masses, has required immediate compliance in the way that people verbalize their solidarity or their allegiance or their stance in order to prevent being ostracized.
Yes.
And so this is just another one of those.
Exhibit A is our brother Ace's Instagram. He has the pronouns on there now. So
Wait, what do you mean he does? I didn't see that. Was that a joke?
It's they, them.
No, it's not. Are you serious?
By the way, I logged into my Vimeo like recently, and I hadn't logged into my Vimeo for years. And so I logged in, and you know what was on there on my profile? It said he, him.
Really?
And I'd never put that there.
Oh, that's probably something they redid.
I know, but the fact that they assumed my gender.
Wow. They didn't know you were non-binary.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. I was like, well, how do
they didn't know that you identify as alien?
like,
you know?
that's if anything is hypocritical, it's that.
Okay, so Ace, you were talking about courage, right? The need for citizens to be able to say, "Hey, I'm not vaccinated."
Yes.
And they don't know the resources, they don't know what to do, but also many of us are not willing to suffer the consequences for standing up for our convictions, which I feel like basic Christianity is expect to be persecuted.
Yeah.
Expect for people to hate you. I mean, Jesus talks about that early in his ministry. So I think that's why many of us don't have the courage, because I think we haven't been trained in that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem with that is, number one, Christianity of the West right now. It's all glitz and glamour. It's all about, you know, it's you-centered, and it's all about prosperity. It's all about you having your best life now.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as going through trials and tribulation, you not being in the valley. It's you being in the mountaintop at all, like your whole Christian journey. That's what it is.
A lot of historically rooted Christians in the West would be very anxious just to clarify and just to say in full agreement that it's particularly the sort of high evangelical popular evangelicalism that has done that, rather than the Church of the West as a whole.
Yeah.
So just to kind of
thank you for
give them a little bit of a voice. Yeah. Because a lot of Western Christians who come from confessional churches that are more traditional or more rooted historically have been crying out against that for decades, and no one would listen. And so anyway, so it's but fully in agreement about that. I did want to say one thing about the issue of fear and courage, but I want to you guys to finish your points first.
No, please, Randall.
Well, just okay. So I do want to introduce a little bit of nuance here because two things. Number one, myself and I'm sure many other listeners might experience a frustration here, thinking, well, hold on. It's not as if we only have two options here, where we like every single person has to stand on the soapbox and cry out from the mountains and raise their voice on the streets and all of this kind of stuff. Not every single person necessarily has to perform that activity. And if they're not, it means that they're cowardly. Yeah. In fact, I know, so I can speak for myself, and I'm sure many who are like
There's
me.
many parts of the body.
Exactly. And for me and for many, I'm sure that are like me, I have no fear about anyone canceling me on anything.
Yeah.
And
we know.
I'm like
We know that every time we go to a restaurant.
yeah. So I like
Randall will recite
Shout
the
out to
whole
the loud
Bible
ones in the group.
yeah, dude.
in a Muslim restaurant.
So the issue isn't always fear or courage, because I have no fear of that at all. In fact, I've always been bold with the witness of the truth and of Christ and all of this. But how come I'm not like posting nonstop ad nauseum on my social media about that stuff?
Why aren't you?
That's the point I'm trying to make.
I'm not saying that it's posting is the only.
No,
avenue
it's just
here.
an example.
Right.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
sometimes people get caught up in like, well, why aren't you like, using your voice? But I'm not saying we should use our voice. I'm just trying to introduce the idea that there aren't just two options where you're either silent because of fear or you're speaking because of courage. No, in fact, wisdom and shrewdness is required often.
Yes.
Depending on your station, depending on your calling, depending on what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And some people are the voice, and other people are strategic in the way they use their voice. So in my sort of defense of the way I run and operate my platforms of communication, like social media, I don't feel like just sort of sounding the alarm with the red lights is gonna actually contribute anything to all the noise that's already out there. I mean, there's plenty of people already doing that, and that needs to be done. But I feel like my calling in what I communicate has to be a lot more foundational. Than to the point where it's not even people don't even realize that the stuff I'm sharing is like it is at the root of what's producing this nonsense.
Yeah. It's like tasting and spitting out.
Can you tell us how your selfies do what you
Wait, hold on. Julius, wait.
Took the mic away from me, bro.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I was like, geez,
How does your recent trip to Alaska, where you were
dude.
naked?
Oh, dude,
great.
That helps by
Bro, and you know what I was gonna do? I was actually going to praise Julius and Nick right now, and he like took it away.
Okay.
You robbed yourself of the reward.
we're not-
I know he did.
Wait, what were you gonna say? Hold on, what were you gonna say?
So what I was gonna add to
could
what
still
you were
praise
saying,
me.
I was going to praise both of you guys, Julius and Nick, because before you guys had posted, you guys came to the chat and were expressing what you felt, and you guys were seeking godly wisdom to see if this is the right thing to do. Obviously, I'm gung-ho all the time, and I'm like, do it, because they deserve it. But you guys stopped, you savored it, you thought about it, you prayed about it, you asked, and then you did it.
Right. Yeah.
So
There was
I
some
think
thought
that's a
behind it.
perfect example of what you guys did about being a different part of the body, as opposed to maybe you're not the mouthpiece, the one that's always on red alert, the watchman, like the way I feel myself to be, on the tower, seeing the enemy, strategically doing things. I have to shout it out to everybody. So, and then everybody, it just trickles down, and everybody gets the message, and they all do with it their own, help me, Randall. They do their own. They do their part. Yeah, they do their own part, their own way that they feel the Lord impressing upon them to do.
Some people are the watchmen on the wall. Some people are the spies in the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. Randall, I thank you for that, and I'm not advocating that everybody just kind of yells with a horn here. Just say, hey guys, don't get vaccinated. Like, I'm not an anti-vax or anything like that. But I just really want to focus on courage here. There are many moments where we can say that's wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? But let's be real here. Many of us are scared to do it, including me. I'm going to be honest. right? So how do we train Christians to fight for righteousness and expect that you may lose some things? And that is to be expected when you follow Christ. So what we're doing right now is how can we speak up without losing things? And sometimes you will lose things.
Yeah. Is it easy answer, or should we just all break it up?
I mean, if we look at the words of Christ, right? Like,
for sure.
we're going to get persecuted. You're going to be on a cross. That means you're going to be scourged. Your entrails hanging out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, if you want to follow him, that's what it takes.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's not get the lines blurred between sharing the gospel.
You read my mind.
Sharing
No.
the gospel and fighting for whether you should get vaxxed or not.
Right, but this is righteousness here. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go back. Let's
Yeah,
go back
yeah.
to the
Righteousness, but
Bonhoeffer.
it's
So
Hold on.
you have to establish that.
Hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back to Bonhoeffer. Right. So the Jews were murdering. I'm sorry. The Nazis,
Nazis,
were
bro.
segregating before they annihilated them. We're segregating them.
Yeah.
Is it not a righteous thing to say that is wrong?
Yeah. 100%.
Right?
And-
because your Christian conviction is telling you
Yeah.
that is not of God's.
And that's where I would say that's the difference between sharing the gospel and saying don't get vaccinated. That's speaking up for righteousness.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're saying.
Is it
like
wrong?
it doesn't require like spreading the gospel right then and there. It's your Christian
Conviction.
conviction empowers you to go out there and try to fight what's evil.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we do it by violence, okay? I'm not saying you do that. But just to say, hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. My God tells me that you do not segregate somebody based on or whatever, skin color or what's inside your body.
On their
type of-
clean, unclean status.
Yes. So should we not do you see what I'm saying? Hopefully I'm making clear. Or making sense.
So I was going to bring up the same objection Nick did, but he already did, and I have something to actually back you up. I want to just mention like the example of the early church and of the church throughout the ages, including during the Reformation era when there were plagues in the land, and the Christians were the ones when everyone was dying and everyone was literally social distancing because they didn't want to catch the contagion. Christians were the only ones going out to the sick to tend to them and to care for them. And they were the only ones going to the dead bodies that no one would go near in order to take them and bury them. And then a lot of those Christians contracted the disease and died.
Wow.
And that was their witness.
And great is their reward in heaven.
That was the witness, the gospel being spread by their actions right there. And it's funny you say that. I was literally going to tell you, talk about Black Plague. And that's what history always like. They just throw that under the rug because they never want anyone to know that it's always Christians behind these like very important moments in history that are doing the dirty work.
And it's all based on Jesus' example. He approached the lepers. He went into the leper colonies. He wasn't afraid. And instead of the unclean being contagious and defiling the clean, it was the opposite. The power of Christ actually overcame the contagion. What was clean was actually more contagious than the disease. And Christians need to embody and demonstrate that regardless of whether we actually contract that disease or not, whether we take and bear that disease or not. Because even if we do, that's what Christ did. He bore our sicknesses, our diseases, our illnesses, both spiritual and physical.
Speaking of bearing the disease in the name of Christ, we actually contracted it a while on the mission field. And although it sucked and I was really sick, I wouldn't take it back because I felt like we went in obedience and we weren't going to let fear deter us from what we felt like God was telling us to do for that season and for that trip. And so it's like I feel like the even greater witness is because there was real fear that we would die, like actually die, you know.
You were pretty sick.
And we didn't. We here.
And this
We
is
told us we could tell the story.
Shout out to
Hello? Shout out to Ivermectin. I took it.
you did? I didn't know that.
yeah, they gave it to him.
You got it early enough?
In Mexico.
Did you get it from a veterinarian or?
It's like candy, bro.
So
Nah, at the
It's like candy there, bro. They give it to you.
this is what Christians have been doing for centuries. We just weren't prepared because we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
We never have those examples in front of us. Like you said, the gospel that we're given, or the message that is preached, is the message of comfort, the American the dream, like all of the, appealing to our own comforts. And we prioritize health and life and safety over being sold out for the kingdom, over pouring out our lives as a witness, as an offering for the world, regardless of, and having no flinch in the face of death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
good.
I think the reason why many Christians are scared because they have a very they have a lack of understanding of heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk about our heaven story?
Oh, dude, that's quite the segue. That's quite the segue, bro.
What?
Yeah.
No.
It's your call. You could either take us there or
Someone
Stick to
else
the
can
script.
take you guys
Stick
there.
to the script.
We
that'll
have.
take us way off.
Okay, you're right.
That will.
Let's go to the last topic. We only have about 15 minutes. We're trying to stay on this 15 minutes. And that is the state of Christianity. Paul, where is the state of Christianity in America today?
Okay. Where it's at right now,
Where
is
should it
their
be?
lack of understanding of heaven.
Yeah, what we just talked about.
So that whole
Nope,
segue
you're
was
not gonna do it, Paul.
unnecessary.
You're not gonna do it.
He's like, Paul was
Nick,
like,
bring it back.
Paul's
Bring it
like,
back, Nick.
Yeah.
Paul's like, if you hadn't interrupted me,
That was it.
How do you guys know my sounds on my keyboard better than I do?
Bro, we got it down. That's
This
it.
is bruh. This is
Ding,
I
ding.
don't know what that is.
That's
is that?
music.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we're already on that topic. We're not teaching our children to look forward to heavengasm. Oh, that sounds weird. Sorry.
Bro, they
People
can't
don't
know
know
our
what that-
word.
There's no
People don't know
context
what
for it.
that
They
is.
can't know our word.
Can we talk about heavengasm real quick?
fine,
that
go
I'm
for it.
not-
Just do
Can
it
you
real
just
quick.
define it real quick at least?
No, I don't want to talk about it. I've been talking too much on this thing.
Okay, I'll take the baton.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So real quick, just super quick, Heavengasm, for context, this is how our group started. Literally, our friend group started through Heavengasm. That's it.
Don't.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so when we first like linked up and hung out that first night when we got together and met each other, really, all of us, we were talking about heaven. We were talking about how the pleasures of this life are just a shadow and a glimpse of the pleasures at the right hand of the Father.
Yes.
Like it says in Psalm 16, at your right hand are pleasures forevermore. In your hand is fullness of life. And so we were talking about how, like, we were like, okay, what's the highest form of ecstatic pleasure on earth? And we talked about, of course, sexuality and the orgasm and all of this. But we said, imagine God invented that mechanism. He invented that experience. He came up with it. It's no reason to be like
Ashamed of it or anything
squirmish,
like that,
like squeamish about it. But like he created that experience precisely to be an image, to be a witness of his beauty and pleasure and his life. And so that and imagine that experience, which is momentary, times a million and constant
And eternal.
and eternal and in Christ, right?
Yeah.
And so with and that's why part of why the image in the scriptures of our relationship with God in Christ is of marriage. And so on that day when that marriage is finally consummated, then we will experience the heavengasm. That's where that came from.
Yes.
I don't know why you waited. Or
I
didn't
love
want to say it. That was
how
beautifully
that was
said.
that was beautiful,
really
bro. That was
good.
beautiful.
It should have been a sermon.
Truly.
But yeah. Any
So
thoughts on that?
the state of Christianity. The state of Christianity
Okay,
today.
for me, it's that it's we're so focused on what's going to happen to us here on earth that we're not thinking about the rewards in heaven. That if we get persecuted here, if we lose everything here, but we're doing it for the kingdom, that you'll have treasures in heaven that cannot be taken away and it won't rust, right? Things like that.
You know what I think is so funny about that? About I guess that idea of, I guess popular Christianity today, right?
Yeah.
How it's all about you, prosperity, your best life now, whatever. If you actually read the Bible, it would demolish that idea. But because of the lack of discipleship, people don't actually read the Bible, or if they do read it, it's like they're just reading a book and they're checking that off. And it's like, yeah, I did my devotional today, but they don't really learn anything.
Or they don't know how to interpret it properly.
Exactly.
Like there's no guidance or discipleship on how to actually understand in the spirit and have the veil removed. Because
Yeah.
I mean the Jews read the Bible, the Old Testament, and completely missed it. And Christ said, like, if without me, you've missed the whole point. So when people read the Bible with no guidance or have no guidance, and so they don't read the Bible at all, it produces what you said.
Yeah.
What if our growth track or our discipleship pathway is like, you know what I mean? Hold on. No, this is for all churches,
no,
right?
for sure.
Was like just using scriptures. Okay, you guys want to be a Christian, a disciple of Christ? All right.
Here it is.
So you have to carry the cross and die for Christ. It just mic drop.
Yeah.
Nick, do you remember? You were there with the Easter theme?
Or
So one time I
remember
asked us to
nothing.
come up with the Easter theme for one of the years.
Oh, the Die With Us?
Yes, and we wanted to do the theme for Easter to be "Die with Us," but we knew that would never fly.
Yeah,
That would never fly.
Right, at a certain
at a certain place. Yeah.
I think it would have taken
would
off
it-
just a little bit and then
from
just
the outside
landed.
looking in,
I can only.
it would not fly.
Yeah.
We'd be identified as a cult.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. Actually. Yeah. For sure.
Well, it
for sure.
sounds cultish.
You know what I would like to
But
see?
that's what Jesus said.
I
know.
would really like. I would really like to have seen Julius's like graphics on that.
Right. Okay.
Bro,
how about this one?
sure.
We should
Okay,
still do
How
it.
about this one? You ready? Hey, if you want to be a Christ follower, you have to hate your mom, your dad, your sister, so that you can be worthy of following me.
Yeah, that's tough.
You have to hate your own life
You have to hate your own life
and yourself.
Yeah.
People would be a lot more.
Hey,
hesitant.
let me go bury my dad. I have to worry about my finances. Nope.
Let the dead bury the dead.
Let the dead bury the dead.
But isn't that crazy? We come up with these situations in our head where it's like, oh, but if someone hears that, they might turn away and not come to church. But it's like, well, in certain situations, that's what Jesus said. He said it right there and there's some other places where he said other things, and it's like, you just said it.
In John 6, when a grip of disciples left after he said stuff like that.
Right.
And you know what he did? Nothing. And the disciples were like, bro, aren't you going to like say something? They're leaving.
Yeah.
Like, aren't you going to clarify what you meant? And he was like, no, they're not my father's sheep.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't
Yeah.
tripping. Like, it's not, and he just moved on. He said they only came because of the bread that I fed them. He said that even to them, to their face. But he said, those whom the Father has called and compelled, they will come to me, and they will not be lost.
Yeah.
So he wasn't. Yeah.
Why do we feel?
And then he turns to his disciples and he says, "Do you want to leave too?"
Wow.
So he actually challenges them to go ahead. He's like, "Go ahead,
Read it.
So
read it.
So Jesus, it's almost like Jesus is trying
I
to.
want to see receipts.
It's like Jesus, to bring it full circle. It's like
There it is.
it's like Jesus was trying to get canceled.
Yeah.
It's like he was trying to lose disciples. And we go about our entire church approach the exact opposite way of Christ.
We approach Christianity from a place of fear. It's like
And insecurity.
I want people to like me. Yeah, and insecurity. I want people to like me. I don't want people to think. Oh, you're one of those kinds of Christians. Right. Oh, I don't want people to judge me. I don't want to.
But Jesus said, expect
persecuted
that.
at my job and all that type of stuff.
But our Lord literally said, expect that.
Yeah.
If that happened to me, the master, it'll happen to you. You're not greater than me. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see.
Homie Kabled? That's right.
It's my favorite ism that you have, Paul. See what I'm saying?
Again, just going back to the same answer that I have, it's the discipleship of the church. There's some churches are just way too big for discipleship. They don't even have that, dude. It becomes, for lack of better words, a performance center, and it's a place to feel good. You just go to it, and that's it, and you don't really do anything after. You click up, you have communities, you have friends, which is great. I don't at all disregard that or look down upon that. I think that we should always have community at church. That's,
And sometimes those big churches think they're doing discipleship.
Yeah.
But Paul, why don't you tell us what real discipleship is?
Let us know.
Yep.
Let us know, homie. Kev.
How do you define discipleship?
I'm going to talk like this. Is that all right? Can I bring out this character and stuff?
Cringe.
So back in the first century, the Jews. I can't talk like this.
Dude, I'm all for it, bro.
Go.
If I get canceled, it's all right. So the Jews back then, the rabbis, if they want people to, so if you want to follow a rabbi, because the rabbi is like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? You want to follow the rabbi. So they would go to the rabbi like, oh, rabbi, I want to follow you. And the rabbi goes, okay, come follow me. Then what happens is his homies and stuff will follow him, his students and stuff, and they will go be like, everything he does, they will follow and kind of like emulate. Everything.
Yes.
Everything. All right. So everything that the rabbi.
Wait. Everything?
Everything. Okay.
Everything.
Okay. In some
Expound on that.
in some historical sources and
You're
stuff.
not gonna tell that story.
Yes,
are you?
yes. Tell him.
Okay,
Tell
hold
him.
on. Like you hold on, Randall.
Bring it
You need to
out,
like
bring it
calm down, fool.
so much. Keep going.
In some historical sources and stuff, like the rabbi would make love to his wife, and some of his students would be under the bed because they want to know how to make love to their wives, like the rabbi. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Yeah. This is for real. This is for real. This is real stuff. So discipleship today needs to be like, hey, come follow me. Hey,
Come
okay.
lay under my bed.
So one of the guys that really did it well was Francis Chan. So I went to San Francisco to hear him speak, and it was just a small intimate
Shout out the
setting.
man, Francis Chan.
Yeah, but he had two.
You just like him because he's Asian.
No, yeah, that too. Stop
Yes.
Asian hate. But there was these two like these two
Hashtag
young
stop
guys.
Asian
They
hate.
look like they look like they were gangsters, so like baggy, like yeah, and they were just following him, and basically he was discipling them. So everywhere he went, those guys went, and they emulated everything that Francis did. So the Apostle Paul said, "Emulate me." Because I emulate Christ. But what's
Literally imitate. Like
imitate?
Yeah.
Imitate. I'm sorry, imitate me. Forgive me. So that's what it is. You gotta imitate.
You know, it's funny because whenever the buzzwords from the big churches come out of like, let's, we it's all about doing life together. You know, that whole thing. It's like we don't, but then we don't.
Yeah,
of
at
course. It doesn't mean going to
Till we meet next Sunday.
right. No, but what you just described, Paul, is that is what it is. That is what doing life together is supposed to be.
Randall, I want you to tell the story again of the Apostle John commissioning his bishop to disciple.
Oh my gosh.
Please tell us that story, and we
Okay.
can end there.
I'll try to
Story
keep it short.
time.
Yeah.
Story time.
I'll
Let's
keep
go.
it short. I'll keep it short. So,
And this is a classic example of discipleship and love. Methinks.
Yeah.
Continue, sir.
yeah, there's an early apocryphal recording from one of the apostolic fathers, which were the disciples after the disciples, and they describe. I think Polycarp writes this down, and then Eusebius picks it up. But he describes how the apostle John, the apostle John, the one that was at the bosom of Christ. He was, when he was old and he was an established, archbishop, so to speak, apostle. He goes to he's at one of the congregations. And he sees a young man, and the way he describes it is a young man who was fervent of spirit and robust, and he immediately identified him, and like he caught his eye, and he signals to his bishop from the local that local church, and he says, I want you to take this young man under your wing, I want you to disciple him. And so the bishop literally brought him into his home. And he lived with him, and by and by he trained him in the faith, taught him, and he began to excel in the faith and things like this. And then he over time he relaxed his oversight over him, and the young man ended up going astray. Well, anyway, the Apostle John comes around like a year or 2 or 3 later, I don't know, and they're sitting at some sort of feast or something, and then the guy, John, turns to the bishop and he goes, do you have that which I require from you? And he didn't know what he was talking about. He's like consulting his deacons, like, what is he talking about? Did he lend us some money? Like what? And then he like asked him again, and eventually he goes, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, the young man that I put in your charge. He's like, oh, alas. I trained him up for years. He was, in the faith, in the church, blah, blah, blah. And then I started to give him more freedom. And then he went astray. And then the Apostle John immediately stands up in the middle of the dinner banquet. He stands up. He goes, a fine bishop I left him with. He commands the servants to give him a horse. They bring a horse to him. He gets on. He goes by himself. He goes around town from place to place, person to person, asking, that's right. I forgot to mention the bishop had said to him, he's gone astray, and now he's the leader of a gang of thieves. Like he's and so he goes around town, starts asking everybody, where is the leader? Where is this gang, of thieves that's well known in this town? And people started pointing him in directions, and eventually he finds their den, and he gets there, and like everyone stands up with their weapons. Like, who's this old man on a horse just randomly approaching them?
Yeah.
And then he gets off his horse. He walks up, doesn't even care about all the the threats of the swords, like, and so they don't know what to do. They don't stick him because the leader didn't say anything. He walks straight up to the leader, and the leader he looks up and he's like, "Who do you think you are? What are you doing, old man?" And then in a moment, in a flash, he realizes who he is. He remembers his face, and he realizes he's the Apostle John. And in that moment, his countenance completely just dissolved into the most childlike state of confusion, and he just began to just like completely freak out, and we won't comment on that. That is another inside joke related to something. Anyway, but he loses his mind, or he like loses his composure completely. He doesn't know what to do, so he just scrambles up, and then he just takes off and books it completely to away. He's running. The Apostle John starts booking it after him. He's running, and he's yelling after him, my son, have mercy on me. I'm an old man. Have compassion on me, on my son. I'm an old man. Please, I just want to see you. I just want to, see your face. And he's running, and eventually he stops. His words break him, and he stops, and his spirit is broken, and his head is hung, and the Apostle John collapses on his feet, his ankles, and starts begging him, please, my son, come back, blah, 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 all this stuff. He starts pleading, and he turns around and breaks down and weeps, and then he completely repents, and he welcomes him back into the fold. And that is true discipleship. Yeah. The true shepherd who went after the sheep, exemplified not only by Christ, but by his apostles.
Yeah.
Let's stop that.
So good. Oh. It's good.
Dope. Yes, true discipleship. That's an amazing story that I've only heard once when you said it a while back. Any final thoughts before we wrap this podcast up with what we talked about?
Wrap it up.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts with what?
To the Christians, count the cost. Count the cost of following your Lord.
Let's make a rap song about discipleship.
First, they need to know what the cost is, and I think on our next podcast, we need to talk about what is counting the cost, because it's truly important. People don't know what counting the cost is.
If you don't count the cost, you're a fool.
Do you have a beat?
Yeah.
Put up.
I need headphones.
What? Oh, I need the headphones.
The reach.
Well, that chord is.
It's okay. I'll hear it.
Okay.
I'll hear it. Okay.
He's gonna rap.
No, we all are. Come on. All right, yo, come on, bring it down, Imitation, emulation, discipleship is the name of the station. We got the nation of the Lord Jesus Christ on the station. Jesus Christ. Emulation.
Save my life.
Go, hit it up. Julius, you're a resident black man. This is the song.
Does that mean that he's the best
this
one
is
at
the
freestyling?
the mode of your people.
No audio on my headphones. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's going to do it for this show, guys. Tune in for the next show with all 5 of us, I guess, of counting the cost. Is that what we're going to talk about?
Sure, yeah.
Randall's going to have a rap prepared.
Christ.
To live is Christ and to die is gain. Make sure you go out and don't get those things. Goodbye. Subscribe.
Like, comment,
Bye now.
Or don't. Maybe my YouTube channel will get taken down after this. I don't know.
It will, brother. Consider it gain.
Is this persecution? Am I living in persecution right now?
Yes.
Not yet. Not yet.
All right,
when it comes, it comes. And it's going to come.
That was not